Welcome to today's video. It has been a while since the last video. It's been over a month in fact. To be honest with you, I've been a bit burned out with work and stuff and very busy in general and not seeing too much football. A lot of topics certainly to cover. Liverpool been knocked out of the FA Cup, Aston Villa obviously going on to the final. Should be a big boost for their season. Could help give them the motivation to stay up as well. Barcelona obviously eliminated Paris Saint-Germain from the Champions League. They look probably the favourites to win it, and they got Bayern Munich in their semi-final. Bayern Munich, who destroyed Porto after 30 minutes, after losing the first leg 3-1. They were 5-0 up after 30 minutes in the second leg. Incredible performance. I mean, really a joy to behold, and they again are looking strong. Real Madrid managed to get just through against Atletico Madrid. They won 1-0 in the end. And Juventus beat Monaco 1-0 on aggregate. And it'd be a Juventus-Real Madrid semi-final as well. Now, Juventus is one of the teams I picked out that I feel could possibly win it. I had this feeling, and this is no word of a lie, I had this feeling about Chelsea when they had Di Matteo in charge. And just with the kind of football they're playing, how difficult they were making themselves to beat. And it was round about the time they were in the last 16. For some reason, I had a feeling that Chelsea were going to win the Champions League, and of course they went on to win it. And I've kind of had that same feeling about Juventus. But looking at how strong Barcelona are, and obviously the reigning champions Real Madrid are still in the tournament, Bayern Munich obviously looking very strong after the Porto game as well. It is such a tough one to call, a real tough one to call. We probably all expected to be a Barcelona-Real Madrid final. I'm going to go out on a limb and say it'll be a Barcelona-Juventus final. I actually think that Juventus might be able to get the result against Real Madrid over two legs. I think they're a side that are very difficult to beat, and they've certainly got quality. And with Paul Pogba, they've got one of the most sought-after central midfielders in the world. Real Madrid, of course, phenomenal side, but they're kind of in a bit of kind of disarray, which seems to happen with them. It is the toughest job in football. There's no question. And the fact that Ancelotti might not be there next season is a big story, and it looks like that certainly could be the case as far as that's concerned. And Barcelona obviously looking. I think Barcelona will beat Bayern Munich over two legs. I'm confident of that. So I'm gonna go out on a limb, and I'm gonna say it'll be a Barcelona Juventus final. And I'll say that Barcelona will win that final as well. I mean, like I said, I did have a feeling about Juventus, but Barcelona looks so strong, you can't really look past them. They're top of La Liga. They've been incredible since kind of Christmas time. I can't look past them. They've been incredible. They actually the way they played against Paris Saint-Germain in that second leg, it wasn't as if they really needed to be at the top of their game, and they weren't. They just did enough to get the result. You hate to think how much they could have gone through by if they'd really been on top of their game, which obviously they weren't. Other topics as well. Manchester City completely collapsed in the title race. I mean, they've got no chance of winning the league now. The only team that had a chance was Arsenal, if they did got the result against Chelsea today, which I will just check just now. Manchester United look like they've bounced back this season. They're going to get that top four spot. They had a very poor result today against Everton, losing 3-0 away from home. A game, to be honest, after the way they've been recently, you would expect them to win that, but they didn't. But Liverpool are a bit too far behind really to kind of worry them for that fourth spot. Liverpool are not going to get the fourth spot. It was 0-0 between Arsenal and Chelsea, so Chelsea will win the league this season. Arsenal will still be in kind of second place. Manchester United I think are fourth because Manchester City are second, Arsenal are third, a game in hand, and Manchester United are fourth, which is the situation at the moment. Also, Watford have been promoted to the Premier League. They had a kind of late resurgence to take top spot in the Championship, and I believe that is where they are right now. I don't think they've won the league yet, but I'll just again check that. They've pretty much won the league. I mean, they're 4 points ahead of Bournemouth. Bournemouth do have a game in hand, but they would need Watford to not really kind of pick up any points in their last game. Watford have been promoted to the Premiership. It's between Bournemouth, Middlesbrough and Norwich for that elusive second place. You'd have to probably make Bournemouth the favourites, so then they've got a game in hand, but that doesn't mean anything. That's not points on the board. And the top six looks the other four teams, except from obviously Middlesbrough and Norwich, of course, Ipswich and Derby. They're the teams that are chasing the playoffs. Brentford and Wolves are the only sides outside the playoffs that can still get there. They're only 2 points off both respectively. So again, that'll be very interesting. Traditionally with the playoffs as well, you normally find it's a team that kind of sneaks into that sixth spot late on that stays up. That goes up, that wins the playoffs. It's never usually the third place team. Not to say it's unheard of, but it never usually happens. In the other end of the Premier League, Leicester City have won their last 4 games on the bounce, which is incredible. Now the thing is with Leicester, they have actually played very well this season. They've had a few games where they've been a bit unlucky, but they've finally kind of got a bit of the luck that they have deserved for their performances. Newcastle United, however, who are 4 points above the drop, but all the teams below them have a game in hand over them, have lost the last 7 games on the spin. And I'll be honest with you, I fully expect them to probably lose the next 4. And if the likes of Hull, Sunderland, Aston Villa and Leicester can all pick up at least 4 points between now and the end of the season, then you could see Newcastle relegated, which, for the way they've been in the last 10 games or something, would be fully deserved. They've probably gone on a worse run than they did when they got relegated the last time. And I would predict that if Newcastle don't go down this season, that they will go down in the next 3 years. That's just my personal opinion. So I mean, it's just really this first video is just really kind of a catch up on football and the kind of goings on. Obviously, there's so many things that weren't covered, but the kind of Europa League places, you know, they've kind of looked like pretty much well sorted. You know, it's going to be Liverpool, Tottenham, and probably Southampton. Again, I'll just check the situation of that. Yeah, it's pretty much. I mean, because Swansea are 7 points off that. They're not going to really worry the situation. The situation for Newcastle is dire. Aston Villa don't actually have a game in hand, but Hull, Leicester, and Sunderland all do. Queen's Park Rangers, who have looked doomed since pretty much the start of the season. They were kind of hovering above the relegation spot for a long time under Redknapp, and eventually have fell into it. They're certainly down. Burnley are now 5 points off, and they've played a game more than most of their relegation rivals. They're not going to stay up either. So I think, as far as I'm concerned, the first 2 teams have been decided. QPR and Burnley will be going back to the Championship. Sunderland, Leicester, Hull, Aston Villa and Newcastle, one of those teams could join them. Which one? Well, Hull have certainly got the toughest run in. Newcastle don't look like they can buy a win. Leicester City are on a fantastic run of 4 wins. Aston Villa have looked fantastic under Tim Sherwood. So I think that they will stay up, and you know, Sherwood maybe he did have a case after all for being wrongfully sacked by Tottenham, because he's done a terrific job at Aston Villa. Really has turned them around, and it's got them to a cup final, albeit it is against Arsenal, have a chance to retain the FA Cup. But again, looking at it, I would say it's between Hull, Leicester, Sunderland and Newcastle. Newcastle are far from safe, and I really don't think they'll pick up another point. Well, anyway, this was just a roundup on things. There also will be a video from Match of the Day from yesterday, and thank you for watching. Hopefully this will all be uploaded by some point on kind of early Monday morning. And well, I will see you for the Match of the Day video. Okay, thank you for watching.